Welcome to Behind the Lines, coming to you from the socialist, Marxist lines of Washington State. It's a crazy liberal petri dish for the rest of the country, folks. Stay up to date with all the great news right here. So, of course, we've got all this racial stuff going on in the news around here in the Seattle area lately. And the big story right now seems to be this deal with Sheriff Ed Troyer out of Pierce County and this exchange that he had with the black newspaper man in the middle of the night that was in his neighborhood. Of course, you've got everybody coming out of the woodwork trying to say he's a racist and that he needs to be fired. And I just want to put some perspective on this that I think is being overlooked. For one thing, I think this whole thing is a big misunderstanding. You know, cops by nature are suspicious of everybody. They don't trust anybody. I was a cop for 9 years, and I was a fugitive recovery agent and a bail bondsman for about 20 years. And you can imagine, and maybe you can't imagine, I don't know if anybody who hasn't worked in this line of work can understand what it's like to spend every single day of your life dealing with liars and criminals and just that element of life. And you start to develop this outlook on people that everybody is that way, that everybody is a liar and everybody is some kind of criminal or trying to hide something or trying to get away with something. Most cops are that way. When you spend 90% of your time around that element of society, what do you think your perspective on people is going to be? Everybody's dishonest, you know? And so for a cop to be sitting at home and see some car driving through the neighborhood, pulling in and out of driveways, of course they're going to go out there and figure out what's going on. That's their job, to stop criminals if there's criminal activity, or to find out what's going on if there's suspicious activity. It's their job. And so for him to go out there and do this, I really don't understand what all the surprise and confusion is about. Now, should he have gone out there and identified himself? Yes, absolutely. He probably shouldn't have used his personal vehicle when he went to confront the guy. I assume he has a take-home car as the sheriff. I know most of the bigger departments, the sheriff's office, a lot of those guys have take-home cars. I'm sure as the sheriff he does. Why he didn't get in that car to go do this, I don't know. But I think people need to understand the mentality of law enforcement and why this is getting blown so far out of proportion. And, you know, then you've got this huge response that happened, and of course the media is trying to say, oh, it's because it's the sheriff and this and that. Well, that response is going to fall back on the dispatcher who put it out as an officer needs help. He did not say he wanted that kind of response. He did not say that he was in a situation where he would say officer needs help or request some kind of priority response. He asked for a couple officers. The dispatcher took it upon themselves to put that out as an officer needs help. And that's going to be on the dispatcher. That is not on the sheriff. And so it is not his fault that huge response came. You know, they should have done what he asked them to do, which was send a couple of guys out to see what's going on. And, you know, I don't understand why the media is just looking to divide people and looking for controversy. And of course BLM and all these other groups are looking for a reason to go after the sheriff. You know, just another public official, especially law enforcement, that they can label as a racist and get them fired and, put another notch in their belt. I know when I was a police officer, there were several times when I was off duty at home and something suspicious happened in my neighborhood, and I went out and got in my car and went and made contact with the people to find out what was going on. And one of them happened to be a DUI, and so I ended up having the sheriff's office come out and arrest the guy for DUI. But this is not abnormal. This happens all the time, all over the country, and you people that are making a big deal out of this, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have a clue what it's like to be a police officer, what the mentality is. And it's not a racist mentality, and it's not a bad mentality to have. That is the job of a police officer, and you're on the job all the time, not just when you're at work. And we're never going to know whether that guy actually threatened to kill the sheriff or not either, because there's no recording. So it's his word against the sheriff and the sheriff's word against his. And no independent investigator for Pierce County is going to be able to figure that out, because they're both going to stick to their stories, whatever that is. So that will never be known, But what is known is the guy that Sheriff Troyer confronted has a history of assault and domestic violence and losing his temper, and it's clear from the body cam video that came out this week that he was angry, and he said he was angry when he confronted the sheriff, when he confronted the sheriff too, for following him. So, in the end, it's all a big nothing burger, Troyer's trying to find out what's going on, and the black guy's just trying to do his job, and both of them overreacted. And this is all just a big nothing burger that the media is trying to blow up and make some kind of big controversy. And we just don't need this kind of crap, There's enough garbage going on right now without having to have the media stir up a bunch of other crap and divide people even more around here. I think it's sad that the media takes this position, and that the Seattle Times is so desperate for subscribers, or desperate to get some kind of story out and make themselves relevant still, that they would pursue stuff like this. Anyway, when you're looking at the different parts of this story and all the information, try to use your common sense. Try to put yourself in the cop's position, and try to put yourself in the paper guy's position, and use some common sense, and don't listen to the media trying to stir all this crap up, and all these other public officials trying to scramble to get brownie points with this group or that group by also stirring things up and calling for investigations and all this other stuff. Use your common sense and think about how this happened and how it makes sense that it happened, and it's really not that big of a deal, and everybody should get on with their lives and stop worrying about Sheriff Troyer and the Pierce County Paperman. Oh, it seems like we have better things to do with our time, but I guess everybody loves drama, because there sure is a lot of drama day in and day out. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Behind the Line podcast. I hope you will subscribe to the channel so you can get regular updates, and if you're listening to this on YouTube, I hope you will also like it, share it, and subscribe on YouTube as well. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Anchor, Spreaker. We're on various other podcast platforms. And you can find me on LinkedIn under John Washington. Again, thank you for listening. We appreciate your support.